Hey everyone. So there you have it now, folks. It can't be denied. It's all right there in black and white. What am I talking about? Well, let's find out. Headline of the Huffington Post: Scheer says Liberal immigration levels are reasonable. The Liberals increased the target to 350,000 admissions for 2021. This being reported by Z.N. Alum, October 2nd, 2019. Ottawa. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer said the Liberals' immigration levels of 350,000 people by 2021 seem reasonable to him during a CBC interview Tuesday. Scheer made the comment on a special CBC News program The National presents Face to Face with the Federal Party leaders, but he left the door open for those targets to change should he become Prime Minister. Host Rosemary Barton pressed Scheer for some clarity on what immigration levels would look like should Conservatives form government. If the target right now is 350,000 by 2021, is that about what you're looking at? Barton asked. I think that's reasonable, yeah, Scheer said, adding, as long as that's coming from facts, from evidence, from a look at the situation, and an understanding of where society has needs, then absolutely. What's society when you're talking about needs? Like that's the thing with politicians or collectivists, right? They talk about like as if we're all just mindless beasts or robots or like the Borg. Like we don't all have the exact same preferences. You know, an employer. Let me just point out one really easy example. You know, an employer. Yeah, they'd like to have some dirt cheap slave labor from foreign countries, right? For sure, no doubt about it. I mean, if I was running a business right now and I was corrupt and immoral, and didn't give a crap about ethics or morality or principles, then I'd be on board with, hey, bring me some dirt, cheap labor from third world or emerging countries. Hey, that's going to be good for my bottom line, right? But what about the Canadians? What about the domestic citizens born and raised in this country that have to compete with these third world or emerging world immigrants or migrants from these countries? I mean, to them, it's like, that's not so good, right? It's a bad thing because that means that I'll never ever get a raise. Now I'm going to have to race down to, hey, if they're going to willing to work for minimum wage, well, I guess the only way I'm going to be able to compete with them is if I say, yeah, I'll work for minimum wage too. So once again, incentive, and who in the heck are we talking about, right? Anyways, like I say, folks, when they talk about stuff in such a collective manner, just please take the onus, that personal responsibility on yourself, and just think clear and concise that, yeah, nobody is speaking for millions of people. No human being on this planet, no matter which country you live in, nobody is speaking for everyone. So they're speaking from a personal perspective or from a perspective that might suit some people, but it's going to be at the expense of others. Make no mistake about that. It's the first time that Scheer has given an indicator for a federal immigration level he finds sensible. The Conservative leader has previously treaded the conversation carefully, stating that such figures shouldn't be politicized. He called the topic of immigration numbers a red herring in a policy speech in May. Scheer pledged that should he become Prime Minister, he would set levels to reflect the country's best interests. Once again, the country's best interests. As if, what, the soil? Was it the grass? Is it the trees? Is it the water? Is it the lakes? Is it the rivers? What are you talking about? Are you talking about people? And are you suggesting all people in this country think the same way, act the same way, and have the same preferences or opinions? Once again, folks, it's political rhetoric and nothing more. And it's that kind of collectivist political rhetoric that really does generally dumb down the masses. It's that race to the bottom, that lowest common denominator that, yeah, we're never going to get that point, folks. And the more you try to race down to that point, the quicker ground zero is going to come up on you really hard. And it's going to hurt like hell when you finally touch down. Anyways, I'll place a link to this article in the description of the video. Well, not much more. I like I said, when it comes to political rhetoric, I like I say, I have a hard time even reading some of this stuff because it's just so beneath anything that's intellectual or philosophical or being honest in any way. It's just, like I said, it's just baseline political rhetoric, just about what? One notch above the apes sitting around scratching each other's back or picking the ticks off of each other. I mean, it's like not something that inspires me, that's for sure. It's really low-grade stuff when you think about it properly. But I mean, at the very least, what I take from this, and what you can take from this is, yeah, the lib con duopoly, yeah, it's very real. If you support any of the establishment parties in this country, well, you're going to get about the same kind of crap. It just might come in a different pile. That's all. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.